Basketball star Angel Reese has praised WNBA stars Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu as standout three-point shooters in the league. In October, Ionescu secured her first championship title at 27 with the New York Liberty, defeating the Minnesota Lynx. Meanwhile, Reese, alongside her peer Clark, made an instant impact on professional basketball following impressive college stints. The two had previously clashed in the 2024 NCAA Championship, where Reese's LSU triumphed over Clark's Iowa, where she set records for scoring and assists. During a conversation with comedian Funny Marco on Reese's podcast, Unapologetically Angel, she expressed admiration for both Clark and Ionescu, alongside Marco's recommended picks of Breanna Stewart and Ionescu. Clark led the way at the top of the leaderboard with a 34.4% efficiency with three-pointers. That edged out Taurasi, 33.3%, with Ionescu hot on their heels at 33.2%. Stewart, a triple champion, experienced her worst three-point shooting season, netting only 29.5%. Clark previously praised Reese's skills earlier this year, stating, "The thing that really stands out is the offensive rebounding. She did the exact same thing to us when we were in college too. She's just such a great offensive rebounder. She's always just had a knack for that. It's not always something you can teach. I think she just has a really good eye for the ball off the rim and can go get it." Chicago Sky struggled this season with a disappointing 13-27 record, despite Reese's efforts, while Clark led the Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016. Sonny Vaccaro has critiqued the handling of Caitlin Clark's $28 million Nike endorsement, suggesting her team could have brokered a more lucrative deal. The ex-Nike exec, famous for securing Michael Jordan his landmark contract, told TMZ, "She should have gotten a piece of everything, just like Michael Jordan. I'm saying to you, they messed up. They should have held on to the last drop." In 1984, Jordan inked his initial $2.5 million agreement with Nike, which has since grown to grant him a 5% royalty on all of his branded products. The deal has boosted Jordan to become the highest-earning athlete ever, with an estimated net worth hovering around $3.5 billion, according to Forbes. While Clark's annual deal sits at a substantial $3.5 million, it arguably doesn't reflect her immense popularity and influence. Nike hasn't optimized their partnership with the 22-year-old, especially given that they haven't yet launched a signature shoe for Clark. Reports the Mirror US. This gap in the market is notable considering peers like Aja Wilson and Paige Buchers have already debuted personal footwear lines with brands, hinting at the potential success a Clark-themed sneaker could achieve. And Vaccaro isn't alone in his critique of Clark's deal, with YouTuber Mick Talks Hoops claiming, "Caitlin Clark and Nike is one of the greatest fumbles in sports marketing history. I think we can say it is right now, that it is without question one of the biggest fumbles in history. We have got a player who is the most popular basketball player in the world right now, outside of Stephen Curry. And her agent somehow convinced her to sign an 8-year deal. It is the biggest blunder in the history of marketing. The agent that brokered this deal should have been fired on the spot, should already have been fired at this stage. Because a fair deal for Caitlin Clark is $20 million a year. Then also, on the other side, Nike have completely messed it up as well with their marketing. The people in Nike have said, basically, she is not getting her signature shoe anytime soon. Basically, because they need to give Aja Wilson her shoe first. They'll release a Paige Buchers shoe. Bueckers is getting her shoe. They did not do the same for Caitlin Clark. Following a sensational 2024 season, expectations are high for Clark to debut her own signature shoe in 2025. The young star shattered numerous records this year after being selected by the Indiana Fever as the first overall pick of the 2024 WNBA draft, following an impressive collegiate career with the Iowa Hawkeyes. After aiding the Fever in reaching their first playoff run since 2016, Clark concluded the regular season with WNBA All-Star, All-WNBA First Team, WNBA All-Rookie Team, and WNBA Rookie of the Year honors, while also leading the league in assists. Fans are eagerly anticipating to see how far this young talent can take Indiana next year, under the guidance of new coach Stephanie White. He highly anticipated 3-on-3 basketball Unrivaled League is set to make its debut on January 17, 2025. With an exciting inaugural season featuring some of the best players in women's basketball. Co-founded by Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, the league has generated a lot of buzz, offering competitive salaries and the opportunity for players to stay closer to home instead of competing overseas. However, despite the excitement surrounding Unrivaled, several notable WNBA stars have opted out of the first season, including some of the league's most well-known and influential players. Here are 5 of the biggest names who won't be participating in Unrivaled's debut. Caitlin Clark is arguably the most significant absentee from the league. Recognized as one of the most dynamic young players in women's basketball, Clark was one of Unrivaled's top targets. The league extended a lucrative offer to her, but Clark ultimately declined, opting to take a break after a demanding stretch of non-stop playing, including her final year at Iowa and her rookie season in the WNBA. Wilson's stellar performance last season cemented her as one of the most dominant figures in the league. Despite Unrivaled's significant offer, she declined the invitation, likely because of her preference for traditional 5-on-5 basketball and her reluctance to commit to a full year of 3-on-3 play. Veteran forward Nneka Ogwumike, a 2-time MVP and one of the most respected players in the WNBA, also decided not to participate in Unrivaled. At 34 years old, Ogwumike has had a long and successful career, and with free agency looming, she is choosing to rest and preserve her body for the upcoming WNBA season, rather than take on additional physical challenge. Jonquel Jones, the former WNBA MVP and a key player for the New York Liberty, will also sit out of Unrivaled's debut season. Having spent most of her off-season playing overseas, Jones is continuing her international career with Sichuan Yuanda in the Women's Chinese Basketball Association. Finally, Kelsey Plum, a guard for the Las Vegas Aces, withdrew from Unrivaled prior to the season's start. Plum, who had been announced as part of the roster, decided to prioritize her personal life and well-being after a highly publicized divorce. And while Clark has secured her own deal at $3.5 million per year, the figure may not match her popularity. And Nike have also failed to capitalize fully on the impact of the 22-year-old on popular culture. The brand are still yet to drop a signature shoe for Clark, despite Aja Wilson and Paige Bueckers already having their own footwear lines with their respective companies. And a shoe sporting Clark's personal touch could be a big hitter. Vaccaro isn't the only one who sees cracks in Clark's deal either, with YouTuber Mick Talks Hoops explaining. Caitlin Clark and Nike is one of the greatest fumbles in sports marketing history. I think we can say it is right now, that it is without question one of the biggest fumbles in history. We have got a player who is the most popular basketball player in the world right now, outside of Stephen Curry. And her agent somehow convinced her to sign an 8-year deal. It is the biggest blunder in the history of marketing. The agent that brokered this deal should have been fired on the spot, should already have been fired at this stage. Indiana Fever star Kelsey Mitchell has shared a heartfelt tribute to her teammate, Caitlin Clark, although she admits the spotlight brought by the rookie sensation has been challenging. Clark was selected number 1 overall in this year's WNBA draft and went on to be named the Rookie of the Year after a record-breaking debut season. The guard's success in college with Iowa already made her a transcendent star, and her mainstream status only grew in her first season as a professional. Clark, 22, helped spark a dramatic upturn in viewing figures for the WNBA as part of a talented and charismatic rookie class. For the most part, she has let her play do the talking, overcoming a difficult start to finish the season, averaging 19 points and 8 assists per 2-time All-Star guard. Mitchell, 29, has opened up on her respect for Clark. She wrote in the Players Tribune, "And I have so much respect for Caitlin, especially, and how she handled it as a youngin'. I hope we did a good job of being there for you too, C. I gave her flowers early in the game because the eyes she brought shined a light on all of us too." But Mitchell says with greater attention, as a result of Clark's arrival came greater scrutiny. Something that was particularly challenging as she grieved following the sudden death of her father, aged 56. "We obviously had a new spotlight on us with Caitlin being drafted, who I'm proud to call a teammate. That was exciting in its own way, with the fans it brought to the arena and the opportunity it gave our squad," Mitchell explained. "But I think, in a weird way, the outside noise kind of made people forget sometimes that we're still human, if that makes sense. The microscope got smaller and smaller, and I don't think anybody was really thinking about the fact that my dad just died, or Katie Lou Samuelson is a mom trying to figure out motherhood and being a WNBA pro all in one, you know? We all had real things we were going through. The NFL, MLB, and NBA have all boosted their international audiences by playing games overseas, expanding their reach outside America's borders. Rookie of the Year, Clark jumped into the top 10 highest-earning female athletes thanks to endorsement deals, which net her around $11 million annually. According to the Sports Business Journal, WNBA bosses are planning for the Indiana Fever to play overseas in what would be a huge event. The WNBA is not oblivious, and according to sources, eventually will schedule a Fever game overseas to capitalize on her Q rating, a measure of a person or brand's popularity, wrote Tom Friend. Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has capitalized on its brand as America's team to create the world's first $10 billion sports franchise. While some vocal figures insist credit needs to be shared equally among WNBA players, there is no questioning the fact that Clark is box office. Even before she turned pro, her Iowa Hawkeyes went on a pre-season tour of Italy and Croatia in 2023 to make the most of her rapidly growing audience en route to smashing the all-time NCAA scoring record. Clark proved to be a huge draw, and her teammates were only too happy to credit her for drawing crowds. Caitlin Clark is having her legacy enshrined at her alma mater. The 22-year-old basketball phenom, who played for the University of Iowa and graduated in May 2024, will have her jersey retired in the coming months. The college announced on Wednesday, December 18, that the Time Athlete of the Year will be honored in a February 2, 2025 ceremony, and her number 22 Iowa jersey will be retired in celebration of Clark's record-breaking college career. I'm forever proud to be a Hawkeye, and Iowa holds a special place in my heart that is bigger than just basketball, Clark said, per a University of Iowa Athletics press release. It means the world to me to receive this honor and to celebrate it with my family, friends, and alumni, continued Clark, who now plays for the WNBA's Indiana Fever. It will be a great feeling to look up in the rafters and see my jersey alongside those that I've admired for so long,